the Chinese women, majority are illiterate. They don't educate women. They prefer boys to girls. And they even look down upon women. Such that, hata kama uko na kesi na mwanaume, na huyo mwanaume alilie judge amwambie huyu mwanamke ndiye alifanya makosa. Mimi judge sina, I have my family, I have what. These women zanu manipulated me. Walai watasikiza huyo mwanaume. And you will get a higher sentence from the man. So I went, I was like, hey. Kenda nikangoja 7 months. That's when I went to court now. Kwenda kotini, this guy was there and he was asked, the woman who gave you the bag, is she the one? The guy said, no, it's an African woman. Yeah, she's the one, she's an African woman. But then he said, but the hair, she's not the hair is not that one. So he was asked, is she the one or is she the one? Akasema, maybe she's the one. Hiyo maybe she's the one. So I told them, but excuse me, I raised my hand. I was told, you wait to be talked to. You don't talk. Kama jealous Kenya unaweza kamkoni sema your honor anakupatia nafasi ya kuongea. But there you cannot do that. First na translator, court inaendelea kwa kichingo. So this translator has to keep up with the speed ya kuambia what is happening there. So by the time she's telling you what this man has said, wale kule mbele inaendelea na kitengo ingine. So she might not tell you everything. She'll keep on hoping, not telling you exactly what they are saying. So like now when you go back to ask her, she tells you, shh, you're not allowed to talk. You observe silence in courts. So kimwambia, the guy has talked too much, no manyambia tu sentence moja. You've not finished. Still she's be telling you the judge is saying, rrr. So you're just there like, kwani ni aje? So with the Kenya, I go back to the Kenyan embassy. The Kenyan embassy was contacted, but they came on that 7th month. That's when they came. The day I was going to court, that's the day they came. So when they came, they told me we are the Kenyan embassy. They came with me to prison. They came to prison first. And that day is when I was going to the court in the afternoon. So they came and then I told them, you're Kenyan embassy. So when I looked at them, they were looking like, Mabajuni wa Mombasa wa Lamu. So I asked them, are you from Kenya? They told me, no, we are from Hong Kong. So I said, how come Kenyan embassy has Hong Kong as an embassy? I thought you're supposed to have Kenyans, blacks like me. Or even if we have Kenyans who are white or Asians, we have them. But there's a dialect that is common in our country, they would be speaking that dialect. They said, no, we are not from Kenya at all. We are representing the Kenyan embassy. We are the Kenyan consulate in Hong Kong, representing the embassy in Beijing. Then I said, how far is that Beijing from here? They said 2 hours by flight. So I said, okay. Now the embassy is under asked you to come at, yes. The Kenyan embassy in Beijing, because I wrote to them, I was given the address when I was in prison, so I had written to them. So that's the ones who contacted them to come for my hearing. So they told me, take heart, we will come to visit you. We'll even be here for the judgment. So I asked them, as an embassy, what are you helping me with? You understand this language? What is happening? And you're seated in court. What have they said? So the ladies one who told me, they're accusing you for exchanging your bag with that man. And the man is from Indonesia. Okay, but I've not met the man anywhere. And even the photos, anywhere, there's no photo that is showing me with this man or anywhere. Even in my room, they're supposed to be having the man getting into my room. There's nowhere. Even because they took the photos, the CCTV in all the corridors of the hotel. There is nowhere. So I tell them, why are they victimizing me and I've not met this guy? I don't even know him. Me, I came here on another mission, and even they have my papers for that seminar. I've even asked them to get in touch with those seminar guys. They have refused. Hey, I was like, okay. Okay, going back to tell my family that I was in prison and I was not coming back to Kenya. Took 2 months. And there was a Tanzanian girl in my room, the ward that I went to, the cell that I went to, who told me, hapa utapata enda, because when you enter the jail, you're given a social worker. So any communication, anything you want, you go through a social worker. You'll apply to see a social worker, she will call you, you go there, or he will call you, you go there, you explain what you want, and they will be able to help you. Even communicating, the first communication with your family, you're given 5 minutes call when you just enter. But with the time difference, there's no way you'd call Kenya, because by that time, Kenya is maybe wee hours in the morning, maybe 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. Na huko they are working. So watu Kenya wamelala. Calls up, and you have only 5 minutes. Unapigia mtu simu, they are sleeping, you can't blame them. So I was unable to make that 5 minutes call. So when I went inside, the lady told me, okay, she had a visitor. So through her visitor, I gave her my sister's number and where she was and everything. So her visitor went to, is the one who went and called my sister outside. Then I had a chance after 2 months to call her. My sister had even written to me. And now I told her now my kids to stay with my dad because there's nothing I can do now. So she told me, don't worry about your children. We will stand in. I thank God for my family. They stood in and they actually helped me out with the kids, the education and everything. In the beginning, they never told all my children that I was incarcerated. Only my firstborn was told, your mother is in jail in Macau. But don't tell your siblings. Until they're big enough, that's when we'll be able to tell them, stage by stage. So when my second-born became of age, she was told. Then these last two were told later on when I was nearly coming out. So when I went there, when the time I went for the second hearing was my judgment day. So when I went, I was told, because you have you did not consent that you had brought in drugs and exchanged your bags, you're going to be jailed for 11 years. And the man, because he had accepted that he actually was found with the drugs at the airport trying to leave, he was jailed for 10 years. But I was given a chance to appeal. So when I came out, and then they give you these pro bono lawyers who don't even talk anything in the court. They just listen. But you'll be lucky if you got a practicing lawyer outside, then you're given that one. Those ones really help. But now I was unfortunate, I got a pro bono lawyer. So she did not even talk anything. But when I came out, now you have to sign if you say you want appeal. So I told, and the Kenyan embassy was there, they told me, yeah, appeal. But we'll consult with Beijing and we ask them what is the way forward. By that time, my family was already in touch with the Beijing embassy. So they were like waiting for any communication to see how well they can help in. And they're busy telling them, our sister cannot do those things. She doesn't even drink, she doesn't even smoke. So how does she even carry drugs? She didn't even have guts. Okay, she's courageous, but she didn't have guts to carry a bag of drugs. And which suitcase is it? So I'd sent for them the photos of their suitcase through my social worker. So they said, this is not the bag she left here with. Our sister left with that. Even they were saying, they even took a photo of the bags because it was a set of 6 bags. like undulating like this. I'd come with them from Dubai. 6 bags, and they were red. So my sister said, in fact, the bags are here in my house. So she took a photo of those bags and said she went with the smallest because she was not going for long. So my sister was like, airport, that is the time the Kenyan airport had burnt down. That's the time I was flying out. So I said, when I was given the 11 years, definitely I was shocked. I collapsed. I did what? And I developed, because of that depression and everything, I developed, I used to collapse. I would just collapse. Yani, I would collapse and they would inject me and I would come back. In a day, I would collapse maybe 6, 7 times. I think because of trauma and depression like that. I did not accept. So when I went back, the lawyer told me, with the Kenyan embassy, appealing, you still get the same sentence. If you appeal, you still get, but appeal. Then when you're doing your appeal, because you'll apply for another lawyer. It is not the same lawyer. You have to apply for another lawyer. If you get a good lawyer, then you have to retry. That's the only way you will not have to stay here for 11 years. So I told them, okay, let me go through the appeal because it should be out by 2 months. Appeal imeisha, they've given you the same sentence. So now I went on to retrying. So I had to get evidence from Kenya to prove that the bag that I was with at the airport in Kenya is the same bag that I was still maintaining where? In Macau, the one that was present in the court. So my family really had to work around the table, because when they first time went to the KA, which are the guys who maintain the Kenya Airports Authority, they told them usually the CCTV, the camera, the whatever's been captured is stored only for 3 months. Then after that it is destroyed, unless there is a particular thing that they are maybe following, or there's something that they've been told, so they store that particular video or anything. So my family told them it is during the time the airport had banned. So they believe that maybe those videos had been kept because of that. So they said, let us check. If you're lucky, we will get it. But if you're not lucky, we will not get it. So they had to keep on going to the airport to the videos to be run, because they didn't know me. Although they had a copy of material, but they could not. They said, we cannot, but you know your sister. So my late brother, he died when I was still in prison. My late brother is the one who was going, because he was the one who was around here. My sister was working, and her place of work, she could not get the time. So my late brother was going to the airport. Then they wrote for him a report that they sent to my lawyer. Now we had to get a lawyer in Kenya to be communicating with that lawyer in Macau, because the lawyer in Macau had no rights to work in Kenya, and the Kenyan lawyer had no rights to operate international court. So we had to get 2 lawyers so that they can arbitrate and do the whatever. So that's what happened. And then the Kenyan lawyer, now working with my brother, were able to give information. But can you believe me, it took 8.5 years for me to be acquitted. And by that time I was being acquitted, what I went through in that prison, the psychological trauma, the physical abuse, the language barrier, the discrimination. Do you know, when you leave that place and you come back home, I can distinguish the Chinese, the what I can. Like when I came back home and then you're in the streets of Nairobi and you see a Chinese person, you're like, It's good when I came back, the chokoras are no longer in the streets. But I had vowed, I want to patia chokora, mavi, our pake kabisa, whichever Chinese I'll meet, our pake ndo nisikie nimejizika. But when I came back, I was like, I'm a Christian. Let me forgive. So that I can have a chance to heal. But when I came back, I was zonked. I was mental. Because when I was there, during the 2017 clashes in Kenya, they made me understand that my entire family had been swept off. They were no longer there. So I used to communicate with my family. Then it reached somewhere, I stopped communication. Because I'd been told my family was all dead. So in my mind, all the years I was serving, I was like, hey, my family is dead. Hasa mimi nikirudi Kenya nitaanzia wapi? Now who will even meet me? So there's a time, and then even telephones to come, we were allowed to make telephones. That time it was 6 months, you'd make a call, one for 15 minutes. So in a year, you'd make 2 calls. And then they reversed it. It was like after every 3 months, you can make a call, 15 minutes call. And they pay for it. But if you have money in your, what they call amanat, in your bank, then they'd remove the money for you to make the call. But if you don't have, they would pay for you. They would pay for the call. But then again, you'd apply for special call with your social worker. Then you pay for it, or they pay for it. If you have money, they pay for it. You pay for it, and then you make your call. So I'd asked my social worker, I'd like to call my family because I've been told my family has been wiped out. Calls were not coming into Kenya. Hata wananipeleka kwa booth wanasema wewe mwenyewe piga. Maybe you think when we are calling it's not going through. I tried calling, it's not connecting. And there was another Kenyan lady who had come. Me, I went there in 2014. After 2 years, in 2016, there's a Kenyan lady who came in. She had drugs in her stomach and everything. So I would ask this Kenyan lady, wewe unapiga home? Simu yako inaenda? She tells me, hapana, it's not going through. We asked the Tanzanians who are there, because there are so many Tanzanian ladies, nyinyi simu inaenda kwenye Tanzania? They say, hey, Tanzania inaenda. Uganda, and the way it is remote in communication, their phones are also going through. Only Kenya, the phones were not going through. So my social worker said she'd request for the main boss to give me permission to use mobile to call. Because mobile, should call with my sister with the mobile and should communicate with her. But the landline was not going. So since my family had her number, when my brother passed on in 2021, they called her. They called my social worker. So I was just in the room, and then I was called, you're supposed to go and see your social worker. I said, I've not applied to the social worker. Why should I go? Then I went. So when I went there, she told me, you've lost your brother. So I told her, you're not helping me. I have 5 brothers. So which brother? Did they give you the name? Or, because our names are difficult, tell them to just tell you their number this in the family. Then I'll be able to tell which brother. Or maybe the first brother, second, like that. They just tell you among the boys, his number this. Then I'll be able to tell which brother has passed on. So I told the shop, please call and find out which brother. And that time I'd received a letter from my brother. He's abroad. He's not here. So he had written to me and telling me 2 of my brothers were in hospital. That brother was running around, my late brother now, and another brother. They were in hospital. One was there for COVID, And another one had broken down when my mother passed on, he broke down. So he was there on mental wellness problems or wahalas. So when I received this news about somebody passing, I never thought about these are the brother who had COVID. Because when my brother abroad was telling me, even me, I had COVID, but I nilipona. So, this brother would be okay. So now my brain had gone to my brother who has the mental issue. So the next day, when I was called, I was told it's this brother who was running around is the one who had passed on. Oh, it took me by shock. Because he's the one who was very close to my kids and very close to my dad also. He was one who would walk, they were very close with my dad. So I was like, hey, huyu ndiye ameenda. Bas, kaput. That is the time now I told myself, later you stop dreaming and you start living. If you're not going to be there for your children, at least be there for yourself. Mentor, be okay. And that time, I'm being given hard antidepressants. I was on a very heavy dose that I would just take and sleep. At the same time, I had high blood pressure, and I was on very high dose also. So all these years I was there until the 6.5 year. That's when I told them I don't want these drugs of yours, sitaki. Because I was going through so much torture, my bed is being electrocuted, they put water on the floor, I'll be jumping around. Hey, I went through so much psychological torture until I was like, apana, I'll die young. So I told myself, just come back to your senses. Wachana hizi madawa. They're going to make you grow nuts. So I went to the psychiatrist. I told him, sitaki madawa anymore. I don't want medication. Hata blood pressure, mimi sina pressure. I don't want. All I want is I want to go home now. Sitaki maneno yenu na madawa. Finish that, whatever. It cannot take all these years for a case to go. Then I went on. Then after 2.5 years, that's when I was released. When I came outside, my family was even worried. They were like, will she be able to come back? Atajijua. You know, they're communicating with my social worker is telling them, we don't know whether she will come, whether she will know. But then my family is like, apana, this is not the first time she's traveling, she can. And I didn't even started to travel here in Kenya. So I know about travel. I have an IATA UFTA, higher diploma. So I know about travel. See, at a itinerary I can make for myself. Even when I was there, when they told me, it was during COVID time now, and it was like there were no flights coming into Macau. Zote zilikuwa zimebaniwa. Hong Kong, there were no flights coming, all banned. All zimebaniwa because of COVID. Then they came when I was out. They told me, they gave me a routing. From Macau, I go to Singapore. From Singapore, I go to Johannesburg. From Johannesburg, I go to Addis. From Addis, that's when I come to Kenya. So I asked them, do you know these are two tickets, travel tickets? One routing is Macau, Singapore, Johannesburg on Singapore Airlines. That is one ticket. The next ticket is Johannesburg, Addis to Nairobi on Ethiopian Airlines. That's another ticket on a different airline. So those are two different tickets, and it's a very expensive journey. But then they had told me, because the government for me, whatever they will buy my ticket, they will finance everything until I come to my home. So I was like, anyway, I'm not paying for myself, so in a nusu. That's it. It's okay. Book that ticket. Then they asked me, are you sure you're going to reach home? I said, I'm going home. And I don't fika home. I will fika home. You don't be worried. I will reach home. When it comes, I'll be normal in that flight. I will reach home. But as long as I'm sitting in this country, I'll be crazy. So I came to the very long routing, but I came. And by the time I was coming, before I traveled, they were making video calls for me to talk to my kids and everything. But I could not remember my children. Like they are grown now. They are 8 years older. In my stupid mind, I still had them when they're children. So when they're talking to me, I'm like, hey, who is this tall boy? And why is he crying? Because even their faces have changed. Or I was looking at them, I was like, this is not my kid. So they tell me, I'm so and so. I say, yeah, that's the name of my son. But it's not you. So they would break down and start crying. Then I'll tell them, why are you crying? And you're not my son. Why are you insisting to cry? Crocodile tears for what? Hey, and they would break and they would be hysterical. And I would be like, So my brother would even call me, my follower. Then he would be like, this is me. He says his name. I'm like, Since when was he fat? He had put on so much weight. I was like, you're not the one. Even your face is different. So he was like, this girl, how are we going to help her? Then my sister, my elder sister, also she made, now my two sisters, they're making a video call to me. And I'm like, now you're pretending to be my guy. If you hear the way I was talking, again, I was like, they told me and I was like, I was talking like that. Actually, you're not the ones. So and so never used to look like this. Her hair was not like that. They never, everybody, there's nobody that accepted they're the ones. Even when I was coming, I told the center I was staying in, I told them, when I go back to Kenya, those con men who are talking to me, those con people who are talking to me, telling me that my family, they are not. So you do this. I was staying in a nun's place, missionary. So they told me they've gotten in touch with their sisters here in Kenya, and they're organizing for someone from the sisters to come and pick me up. So they gave me that person's number. So they told me, when you arrive at the airport, you know what to do. I said, yes. So I had my mobiles. They'd given me back my mobiles. So I said, I'll go to the airport, Nakifika. See, I had Kenya shillings. I'll go and buy a line, airport, and then I call this guy. Then he'll come and pick me up. Take me to the center. Watu. So when I arrived at the airport, here in Kenya, it was like, I'm going for my luggages. I couldn't locate all my luggages. Only the hand luggage that was in the aeroplane. The other luggages that were cargo were not there. So I had to go and report. So when they tracked the phone, the luggages were still in South Africa. Singapore Airlines did not, or Ethiopian Airlines did not get my luggage from Singapore Airlines, where they had put the baggage claim area. The luggage was left there. So then that's when the Ethiopian Airlines and Kenya Airways took the luggage now to put it on the next available flight to come into Kenya. So they told me, give us the address where the luggage will be delivered. Kizungumukuti. In my brain, I knew where we live. So nikawapatia address vizuri ya Westlands. And I gave them the number, kila kitu na street. And I left it there. But the good thing is I gave my sister's number. Mobile number, my sister, I gave them. I told them this is the number I'll be operating on. So now I'll put my sister's number. But when I go outside, I will call you guys tomorrow and I give you my number. Because they told me the luggage will come after 3 days. Then they told me what they usually do is they deliver. You don't come to the airport to get. Kenya Airways will deliver for you the delayed luggage because it was a mistake. So I said, no problem, you deliver in Westlands. So when I was coming out from the airport, from immigration, now I'm coming to no man's, and I'm coming outside the airport. Kutoka yo check out. I'm going now, nenda kwa zile bandaski za kununua SIM card. And I'm going, then I hear someone call my name. Fletcher. And then that's my sister's voice. So I told myself, you mean they're not dead? That's my sister calling me. So I stood and I turned. And I saw her. I was like, So I cried and we hugged. And that time, she's taking a video because the rest were all like, is she going to accept you? Since she's not accepted us on phone, online. Now in reality, is she going to accept and come to you? How much you'll think you're conning her or you're taking her by? And she was even with her husband that time. I knew the husband because she got married when I was still in Kenya here. So the husband comes and I call him by name. I greet him. Then they look at each other. I'm like, why are you guys staring at each other? They say, hapana kuna shida. So we go with them. Then I tell my sister, by the way, the luggages are going to be taken to Westlands. My sister says, hey, tuingie ndani to change. Then we went back to the baggage claim area place. And the guy told her, all I can do is to write down your name and number. Because the details she gave have already gone into the system, ziko bado kwa mtandao, and we cannot retrieve. So what I can just request, I'll put a note on this document, wakupigie simu. Then you will guide the guy of Kenya Airways where to pick the luggage. So we gave my sister's number again, and we came out. So we came and now saying, hey, Kenya was different. It was not the same Kenya I'd left 8.5 years ago. It was all okay, but it was in line, like it was too much of like Macau in China because the roads, everything, it was looking so much like there. So I was like, kwani hawa tuniaje? Natoka huko tena na nyao na nifuata tu paka huku. But it was like, okay. So then my sister tells me, no, the Chinese are the ones who made it. I was like, no wonder. It just looks like there. And then I came back, and then my sister was like, so she started talking to me. She had done clinical psychology. So now she was talking to me, and then she told me, you need to go to see a psychiatrist, a counselor, so that at least you'll come back to reality that all is well. So when I went, so I was checked in, and they had even given me a contact, the sisters from Macau. So I went to their place in South B. Then there they directed me to see a father who was in on Thika Road, in this Thika Road, the Queen of Apostles. So I called up the father, and then he was then in Mathare Hospital. He had some patients, you saying. So he gave me an appointment at the Mathare Hospital. So I started seeing him there. He put me on medication for 6 months. Then I was able to reverse and accepted myself, although I had accepted myself there, but now I came back to reality. And I would now recollect everything that happened to me when I was there. When I started telling my sister, you know this what happened, what. And then my sister was like, after 2 months of the medication, that's when she told me, now you can go home and see dad and your kids. Because when I just came, they said, she cannot go there. She'll be talking other things, and dad will live and die from heart attack. So when I went home now, I was okay. And I met my dad, and my dad had made a promise to my children that he will not die until I come. And he hands over the children to me. So when I went home, my dad was very excited, and then he told me, I'm giving you all your children back, the way you had given your children to me and your mother when the first time you're going abroad. Now that your mother went, now it's me who remained with them. Now I'm handing over your children to you. But now I can die in peace. Nikamwambia, Dad, what are you talking about? Now I've come back and telling me you're dying in peace. He said, no, I was just talking. So I stayed home for that time, and then I came with my children to Nairobi to visit. We did not even stay for a week. My dad was admitted in hospital. So we had to go back home. When he went back home, he was admitted, he came back home, but his health deteriorated. So we kept dancing, going to hospitals, coming back. Then he was diagnosed with low pulse rate. So they said he needs a dual heart pacer. So the operation was done in December of 2022. And it was done in January 2023. The first week of January 2023. Then after 2 weeks, he was supposed to go back to hospital to remove he was put a bandage for his hand to be like this because a heart pace had already been installed. So they had to remove that so that his hand can be now free. So unfortunately, he was supposed to go there on 30th of January 2023. On 29th January 2023, he passed on. So now Amdan was there with him. My kids had come, they were during the holidays, and then when they were going back to school, they went to tell him, Grandpa, bye, good night, we were going back to school. Then he told them, you guys work very hard. When will you be coming back? They said, we'll come back in April. He said, I don't think we will see each other. But anyway, go to school, we will see each other. So the kids started crying. And even when he was talking to them, he had tears in his eyes. Then he said, okay, you guys go to school. So my kids left to go. So when they were coming out from my dad's room, they were wiping tears. So I asked them, why are you guys crying? They said, no, it's Granddad who's talked to us in a very solemn way. We're just feeling sad that we will not be with him. We are going to school. The way he had just said that week, it's when he died on a Sunday. The same week they had left, he died on a Sunday. So when he passed on, my kids were in boarding. So I had to call them, and I had to call the school and tell them their granddad has passed on. The schools would not give them chance to come and just stay. They had to come for the burial on Monday. So that's what happened. Then my family, then it was like, now dad is gone. We don't have a mother. We don't have a father. We are orphans now. So I had to pick up my burden. When I came back, it was also of all these years we've been taking care of your children. But now that you've come back, what jukumu ni lako, when the lake fire nini? Take care of your children from where we had stopped. So anyway, I understood because our kids were more or less the same age. So it was a very heavy burden on my family, actually. My brothers and my sister. It was a very heavy burden. So when I came back, I had to pay their fees and try to now recapping with the children. That is the hardest dose anybody goes through when you come out from prison. To now bond again. For them to accept you as their mother again. You know, it's like a new chapter in their life. A new trance. That bonding takes the grace of God. God really has to come in. And you really have to try to understand them. Because it's you to understand them. Them, they already understand themselves. And you left children, young kids. Now you're coming to meet teenagers and young adults. And it's like they've grown up with the grandparents. They don't have that. So it's like they've grown up, and these other guys have been taking care of them, but they were far. So it's like they've raised themselves up. You don't even know their character. You've molded the ones you molded, but now, where they really needed you more, you've not been there. So now you're coming to our face to take up from Ukoju, to try to make them, this is what I want. There's too much friction. They'll even tell you, you've not been there for us. So unatuambia, you don't know what you've even gone through. Now you're coming here to give us your atimaru zako na regulations zako. Where were you to do it when you were younger? So, when someone comes out from prison, there's so many things you're going to fight. First, okay, like I was incarcerated abroad, so society at large is not there. It is your family and the few friends that knew you are incarcerated. And you know, like, nobody has ever been incarcerated in your family. So when you come back and you're a woman, they look at you like, kwanza umeharibu jina ya familia yetu jua hivyo. Because sisi jina yetu it's clean. Umetupaka matope sana. But they don't tell you. But the way people will talk and their actions, you'll just gitch and be like, this is the way things are. Others will walk with you and be like, it's okay. Utapata footing. But wengine watakwambia on the face, hey, you've wasted yourself. Hizi miaka zote umewaste. How are you going to recap and go back on track? Na utaanzia wapi? Na miaka ndizo zimeenda. Na vitu zimebadilika. But when I was in prison, I had a chance also to enhance my education. There was a father. It was called Father John. He's in Hong Kong. But we were given, actually we have pen friends with the people in Hong Kong prison. So when you go to Macau, you'll be given a pen friend. The others who are communicating, you'll ask them, as munipe basi pen friend mu Kenya. So you'll be communicating with a Kenyan, whatever. So through that communication, we got the contacts of Father John, who was helping all Africans, both male and female. And this father is an obsolete father. He actually comes to Africa during his vacation to visit the families of the guys who were incarcerated in Hong Kong. So he came to visit us when in prison in Macau. Then he asked me, what do you want? He told us the Macau system is really difficult. He cannot help us to penetrate the judiciary. But he can help us on other things, that maybe communicating with the families. So he gave us a WhatsApp number that we would write letters, then send to Hong Kong. Then that father would WhatsApp our letters to our families in Kenya. That was such a great thing because communication was one big hitch. So he managed, and even they would call him, then he would write to me a letter and say what my family has said. Then I would even send him to make calls to the embassy, since it was the consulate was in Hong Kong. He would even go to the Hong Kong Kenyan embassy consulate and talk to them. He even called the embassy. So he really played a big role in even trying to settle me. Then he said, promise me, when you go back home, I will assist you, because I did my master's in psychology when I was there. And I even encouraged the other Kenyan lady to study. And she actually did, until she even did her master's. She did the undergraduate and she did the master's, while still behind bars with the universities there. The Catholic Church sponsors, and then you do the program. When you're in Hong Kong, you'll actually graduate. You'll be taken to the graduation. But in Macau, no. They'll just bring your certificate. You'll do the online studies, and then if you perform, you'll get your degree certificate. So I got my degree certificate, was just in the place where my other things, where the IDs were, they'll put for me there. And then, so when I came back, Father John called me and he told me he was coming to Kenya. That is in 2023, when my dad before my dad passed on. He told me he's coming into Kenya. And so I came to Nairobi. I met him. Then he's the one who introduced me to Clean Start Africa. So we went to Clean Start Africa. He introduced me to the other ladies. And he told me this is a place of formerly incarcerated ladies from Kenya, from all over the world. And even there was he was with some other formerly incarcerated from Hong Kong. So we went there, we had a whole day there. Then he had a talk with the Clean Start management, and he said he was going to at least open, he's the one who opened the Kisumu office where I work. And he facilitated the rent and everything in the Kisumu office. So that's how I joined Clean Start. And Father John facilitated the 1 year. In 2023, he facilitated the whole year. When we went to Kisumu, he was paying the rent and other anomalies, and that's why we began the office. Clean Start Africa, where I work, we deal with children, girls, and women, formerly incarcerated women. Everybody deserves a second chance. So we give these women a second chance. There is hope even after imprisonment. When the women come outside from prison, we meet them at the gate. And how do we know that they're coming out? We have programs that we're running within the prisons. Like in Western region, we have 15 women prisons, plus the 16th one is the CIA probation female hostel. So we've managed to go through all these prisons. We've visited them. We've met the incarcerated women who some have the children 0 to 4 years. And we also help the women with the children they've left on the outside. Some of their children are going through a lot of problems. So we actually go to visit these children who are left on the outside, and we give them hope also that one day their mothers will come, and we try to connect the mothers and the children together so that at least the children don't forget their mothers, because we know how it feels. We've gone through it. After incarceration, when you come back to your children, they're like, how come you never communicated? But I used to communicate because we have that chance. But the prisons here in Kenya, there's no writing letters even to the children or to your families. Now there's a call. But sometimes there are hitches. They'll be told maybe there's no, hakuna kadi ya simu ya kupiga, there's no money, we don't have a card like that. So sometimes we even facilitate such things in the prison so that to enable the women to call up their children and for there to be rapport between the families. Because it does not mean when incarcerated, you cease being a parent. You can still parent from prison. Calling the children, and they have the open days where the families come to meet the incarcerated ladies and they stay with them the whole day. So we encourage this, the children will come, stay with their parents, they eat together, they even take, they are together the whole day. And that is something good for the children. It restores that love and the family setup. When the children can come and visit their parents, they visit their mother, they visit their father, and they stay together. And they'll also be coming to visit them on daily or on weekly or monthly. It depends how far they are. And some of them is just calling, at least to facilitate their telephone calls, so they can keep on calling their children, so that there's communication between the two, the mother and the children. So Clean Start, we try to put the women geographically in groups that we call chapters, 10 to 15 to 20, depending on the regions. So in these chapters, first there are circles of healing, because you're all with one common thing. You're formerly incarcerated, and you understand each other's story. You're able to communicate and talk freely and say what you're going through. It gives them a room to feel free and to feel accepted back into society. Because we try, the programs we run in the prison are mainly to try to fight the stigma that they'll face when they're outside. So when we train them in the prisons, they're already equipped. They already know when I'm leaving this prison, there's stigma on the outside. But since I've been trained, I'll be able to combat that stigma. Hata mtu aniambia you're in prison, so what? And even there are more worse people on the outside than the ones who are in the prison. In fact, the most victims, most criminals are on the outside. So many innocent guys are in those jailed for no reason. But they serve and they come out. Others because of poverty. That's why they're incarcerated. Single mothers, they don't have something to do for their children. They go bring changa. They go doing prostitution. They go doing hawking. All these things land them in prison. All in the name of their vending for their children. And nobody looks into that gap. Poverty is what is making people going to jail. So how do we eradicate poverty? There are countries where prisons were closed. Why? Because both the community and the government came together to try to solve the poverty problem. And also, education and awareness should be there. When someone comes from prison, give them a soft landing. They've already served. The government doesn't even help these people with a certificate of good conduct. How do you write in a certificate of good conduct, this person was imprisoned, this year, this for this crime? Then you expect them to go somewhere and give them to an employer. Who will employ you? The virtue of like, you were imprisoned, Tiari has put an X on for you to be employed. Who would want a criminal in their employee list? Hakuna mtu atakubali. So you are forcing these people, because of having that certificate of good conduct, to reoffend. Because the only comfortable zone they know is prison, where they are accepted to stay. So that's why most people reoffend. Certificate, they cannot, maybe they were professionals, maybe they have their certificates, but they cannot get a job. They cannot get a white-collar job. Nowadays, when you go even to get, let's say, unataka kufanya chochote, you want to start up a business, a big business, utaulizwa hizo certificates zote. How are you going to produce that? Nani atakupatia even any funding or anything, any grant to start a business? Hakuna. So you don't have a choice. You have to reoffend to go back. So tafadhali, we help these guys who've come out from prison. Mtu asha serve. You've already served. Give even a duration of 2 years to observe this person. There's probation that can do that. They are the local administration. Paka wazee wa nyumba kumi. They can be given that mandate to do that. Then they give their report. Then this person gets a clean certificate after 2 years. So maisha yake yaendelee. We don't close them up just again. Unakuwa incarcerated even on the outside. So you just walk with that emblem of mimi nilikuwa jela, everywhere I go, I was imprisoned. So we should try to move on. Politicians, how many politicians have been incarcerated? But they become members of parliament. What happens to a certificate of good conduct? Inabadilishwaje? So many will say, we were in prison. I have served prison for this, but they are now members of parliament. They are now senators. They are now what? What happened to their certificate of good conduct? How was it changed? While these other people were dogo, who cannot maneuver that way are suffering without jobs. So why can't fairness be there? Nalilia wale wa Kenya, the ones who have been imprisoned in Kenya. For us who are coming from abroad, there's nothing. When we come to Kenya, we will get our certificates. Hakuna shida. So why should our Kenyans suffer? Ukienda jela, that is the end of you. Your family, everything of you suffers. And you know, stigma, society na stigma. Hiyo kitu mtu amekuwa jela, hata ukipita, mtu ajue, amesema huyu ametoka jela. Kila mtu anashika handbag. They assume everybody in jail was a thief. They don't know you go to, there are diversified cases in the prison. Hapana. Even if you come to a place of work, pengine umepatiwa kazi, mtu amekuhurumia, umepatiwa kazi. Then while doing your work, because of that certificate of good conduct, mtu atasema huyu mtu alikuwa jela. Hey, kitu ipotea hapo kazini. Watasema tu ni wewe. Na pengine ulikuwa pale jela because of what? Assault, ulichapa mtu. Lakini because you were in prison, wana assume wende uliiba. So why don't you want to help our own? Tufanye kitu tusaidie watu. Poverty is the one that's number one that is causing people to make crimes. Let us address poverty. Let us address certificate of good conduct. Let us look into those children who've been left on the outside with their parents. Nobody looks after those children. They are left to vent on themselves. Mama ameshikwa kwa street, she was hawking. Her kids were locked up in a room in a slum area. The mother doesn't come back. She's taken to Langata. She has to cry in Langata and tell the officers, watoto nilifungia kwa nyumba. Wacha nipigie jirani, wabomoe nyumba watoe watoto wangu. There are so many of those cases like that. A mother had gone for prostitution at night. Amefungia watoto kwa nyumba, ya ameenda zake kazi yake. Ameshikwa huko. She's been taken to Langata. Her kids are locked up in the house. So you'll be called, because we deal with these women, we know the welfare officers in the prisons. Unapigiwa simu usiku unaambiwa na welfare, tafadhali saidia hii case. Mama yuko hapa, watoto wake wako in a slum. The next morning, because of the details umeingia, unaenda unatafuta, you get the children. But how many people do we reach? Very few. So we should try, even with your awareness, to reach out to those people on the outside, to help the people who come from prison, but not to throw them off. We can all help to build a clean society if we took other people as human beings like us ourselves, because no human being is perfect. Now anybody can go to prison. It's not been designed for particular persons. No, anybody can go to prison. And not everybody who goes to prison is a thief. There's so many cases that can land you into prison. Kupigana na bibi is because the women don't know their rights. And the men don't even know their rights. Gender-based violence, you have a right as a woman or a man to go and report your partner if they are very violent. And action will be taken against them. So it's just awareness that we are lacking. Wale wanawake wa mashinani, they believe, Bwana ananionyesha mapenzi yakinichapa all the time. So a time comes when you're like, this is too much. Umsukume, by bad luck, agonge kwa meza, ama agonge mahali, afe. You get a murder case. It's reduced to manslaughter. When other victims will come and say, alikuwa amezoea kupigwa kila wakati. Why should you wait for that? It's your right to go and report this man. It's your right. There are men who are even beaten by their wives. But because they are men, they don't want to come out and say, Bibi ananichapa. Stigma society doesn't expect a man to be beaten by the wife. But they are there. So many men. But they have a right to go and report this woman who's beating them up. Na atachukuliwa mashtaka. And this man will be at peace. That woman will be at peace. So it's us to make our own society. To be productive. Na tusaidiane tujenge nchi yetu. We don't just go into politics 24/7. It is good to politicize, but at the end of the day, huyo mtu anaenda kwanza atajaza tumbo yake kwanza na familia yake. Hata kumbuka you're campaigning for them. So make your house right first before going to make other people's houses right. As a society, we should heal from just hearsay. Mtu akienda jela, they are criminals. Hapana. Mtu akitoka jela is a criminal. Mtu anaenda kule because of the situation, mtu ana reform. But akitoka nje, you the society forces this person to go back to what they did wrong. So tujaribu kama society. Tubebeane to make things to be, our country to be the Kenya we love it to be. Seti tuuze nchi yetu na tuuze wananchi wa Kenya. When Kenyans meet abroad, by the way, there's too much. Akunanga ati weni kabila hii, we are Kenyans. Abroad, there's too much Kenyanism. It's like this. They are knit together. But here in Kenya, people are not that way. Kwa nini tunauana? Kwa nini tunarushiana mawe? Why don't we have that Kenyanism in us kama wale watu wa nje? Kuna umoja kabisa na kuna undugu with the Sasa people. Because ukitaka kujua Mkenya nje, Sasa fit, unajua huyu ni Mkenya. Even the Tanzanians will say, wewe ni Mkenya, Sasa. Even the Ugandans will say the same thing. Wewe ni Mkenya, Sasa. So the Sasa community should also be Sasa even within Kenya itself. Tukue tu wa Kenya, downline. If you have Kenya in your heart, you will not wish bad for the other person. Tribalism will not be an issue. Let us be Kenyans the way we are Kenyans when we go outside this country. Hakunanga mini kabila fulani, apana. Mini Mkenya, and that's it. And they stay together kama madada na mandugu. So why can't we do it here at home? We live as Kenyans. As one family. Kwa nini tunachukiana? Wakati ikifika ya sasa, let's do siasa na maturity. Sina utoto mwingi. Insults nini hazisaidii. Let's be mature. Siasa ile ilikuwa ya 1900 bado iko tu ya saa hii tu the same. Na the people there's growth everywhere. Kuna AI paka siku hizi. Na bado tu siasa inafanywa vile ilifanywa tu 1963. It's the same siasa. It may change two hands, but it's the same thing. Sit down and check history ya siasa, watu wa siasa. Same thing that was happening then is what is happening now in this era. When will we grow up? Tunangoja firimbi. Itapigwa lini? Something should be done for us to change. And look at things all around. Let's change that colonial ile rule ya Bangkok when it comes to the prisons. Tukue na rules zetu za Kikenya. We already got our freedom. But the Bangkok rules are still sticking to the judiciary until now. Za nini? Kwani tu kupata uhuru? Ndio kwa sababu ni certificate of good conduct inaandikwa crime yako? We should be liberated. Kama tulipata uhuru, let's get uhuru in everything. Even with our own rules, those rules can be changed. The British left and went. Kwani bado tuko colonized? We got our freedom. So let us enjoy our freedom amicably. Na watu wa outgrow vitu vidogo vidogo kama mtu akitoka jela sijui nini. No, let's outgrow such thing. Let us be mature, all of us. Look at things positively. To enhance, to empower our country. All citizens can be empowered. Na watu wataacha macrimes ndogo ndogo zitaisha. Poverty will be something of the past. Badala kuwaste pesa kwenda kutupatupa shilingi 100, 200. If you empower the community where you're leading, empower those people to do some business, to do something, then everybody will have their money in their pocket. There'll be no crime because everybody will be earning a living. People will live in harmony. Wewe una pesa, your neighbor doesn't have money. Alafu unamkoroga. She will plan how to attack you. But ukimsaidia mwambie, ndugu yangu, we can do this. Me as a member, what do you want to do? Tuanzisha hii mradi, tufaidi wote. You'll do it. And you'll uplift everybody. And you'll empower the community. What we need to do now is to empower the community. Because even if we lie to ourselves, poverty is killing people in Kenya. And that's all I have to say.